Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for being here with us. So the first thing that we're going to look at today is just a couple of areas within Gmail. So we're going to look at how we're organizing Gmail, starting with our labels and filters. So what we look at are labels first. Now, previously, you would have known them more than likely as folders. When we look at creating labels, labels are a way for us to help organize our Gmail account. It means that we'll still have access to those emails whenever we need them, but it also means that we can get things a bit under control. Now, if you've not created a label or you need a little bit of a refresher, to create labels within your Gmail account, so of course you need to be signed in. On the left-hand side of your menu, when you're looking at your Gmail home screen, you'll see that there's an area that says More. In More, all you need to do is actually scroll down to More, select it, and at the very bottom of the page, if I can get that to move for me, please. At the very bottom of the page, you'll have the ability to add or create a label. Now, when you go in and create a label, you can name that label anything that you want it to be. Now, labels in Gmail are put in an alphabetical order. If you're not a fan of having them organized in alphabetical order, when you name your label, you could actually try using an underscore before the name of the label, or numerically, so 1 and then the label name. So that would be an alternative for you as well. Also, when looking at your labels, you can also create nested labels at the same time. So if you wanted, instead of making this a brand new label, you could create it as a sub-label or like a subfolder. You can also format your labels. When you're looking at formatting your labels, all you need to do is hover over that label itself and 3 vertical dots will show up. Now, anywhere throughout all of G Suite, so not only just in Gmail, when you see 3 vertical dots, it means that you always have more options. And I would invite you to really be curious about those options that you have, because oftentimes it can be just the solution that you need for the app that you're working in. Now, in this case, with our labels, those 3 dots will allow us to even sort a label color. Now, do we have to use label colors? Not so much, but they're there if we want to. Now, label colors, it could be because you associate a topic with a specific color or even a person with a specific color. It's entirely up to you how you utilize that feature. Also, in that drop-down menu that appears from those 3 dots is the ability to hide your labels. If you have emails directed going right into labels as they come into your account, that's called a filter. We will discuss that. You can actually opt to only show that label if it has any unread messages in it. So if you are someone who has multiple labels to keep organized, this could help keep that view in the left-hand side menu a bit cleaner, a little bit neater for you as well. Down at the bottom, you can edit that label. Now, if you want to edit that label, it means that you want to change the name or turn that label into a sublabel. Okay? You can remove the label. If you opt to remove a label, it does not delete the content within that label. It simply keeps it in your Gmail archive. So again, you can remove your labels from an area, so from your label menu, it will not delete that content. And then also in that menu, you can add a sublabel. So again, trying to keep your Gmail as organized as possible. All right, now we're going to look at our Gmail filters. Filters in Gmail allow you to manage your incoming emails, whether it's sending them directly into a label, automatically archiving them, even forwarding those emails on to others. You can use filters in Gmail as a great way to stay organized. So we're going to go through that together now. So if you want to create a filter in your Gmail, the first thing that you need to do is up at the top of your Gmail screen, you'll want to select the little drop-down arrow within your search bar. Okay, that is going to provide us with the ability to enter some criteria for that filter. Now, think of a filter kind of like a personal assistant for your inbox. It is your way of telling Gmail how you want it to handle certain emails. Okay, when you create a filter, the first thing that you're going to do is enter in some criteria. Now, the one that I'll demonstrate for you today, or the one that we'll discuss, is quite a common filter. And it's a filter based on if someone is consistently sending me emails, or I'm receiving emails from the same company or the same group of people, I may want to create a filter to help me organize my Gmail a bit better. So in this example, I've entered in someone's email address, so I get frequent emails from them. And down at the bottom of that screen, I'm then going to select to create my filter. So once I do that, I then come to a window where it allows me to select the criteria that I want to be applied to that filter. Okay, so what we look at here are options. Now, these are just that, they're options. You do not have to select them all, but you can select as many as you'd like to apply to this filter. So, this criteria are basically the actions that I want Gmail to take when handling that message from that specific person. Now, at the top of this list, there is something called skip the inbox or archive it. Now, if you're not aware, if you just choose that option, skip the inbox, and then you select create filter, what that will do is it will take that email, it will bypass your inbox, and it will go right into your archive. And you'll never know that you've received that message. So, the one thing that I would advise you on, a watch point, if you will, if you do not need those emails to come directly to your inbox, however, you'd like them to show up in a label, then you're going to go ahead and select skip the inbox and then the fourth option down, which is apply the label. From there, you can use a drop down to either choose one of your existing labels or you can create a brand new label for it to go into. So, again, if you are going to use skip the inbox, please do have a label applied to that message as well. You can have these email messages marked as read as they come in. You could even choose to mark them as important or never mark them as important. It's entirely up to you. I would provide you with a tip, however, and this tip will be down at the bottom of this list. It is also apply filter to any matching conversations. If you have never ever organized your Gmail account before, or even if you've done a little bit of light organizing, if you select apply this filter to matching conversations, Gmail is going to then take this filter that you've created. It's going to look throughout all of your Gmail account, and it will now apply that filter to any other matching conversations within your account, effectively doing all of that cleanup, all of that organizing for you. It's a fantastic tool to use. And once you set your filters up, you can actually edit or delete your filters through your settings area. So that settings cog at the top right of your Gmail screen. When you go into settings, you can edit and change your filters there as well. All right. Once you select create filter, then what's going to happen is your screen is going to refresh. It will bring you back to your inbox. And if you've created a filter for that label to be applied to emails within your inbox, you will see it demonstrate that for you. So it will create that filter straight away. Right? So that is just one of the basic ways that we can create a filter for our Gmail. Now we're going to move on to our Hangouts Meet. So this is just a quick start guide. And when we go into Hangouts Meet, I'll be looking at what it looks like via going in through Chrome and also going in through your mobile. So to start a Hangouts Meet, when we look at from a Chrome browser, you would sign into your G Suite account. Okay. Once you're signed in, you can either go in, so some of you will know this term as the waffle. It is a 9-dotted icon at the top right of your screen, or you can go to meet.google.com. And if you save this as a bookmark, then you'll have quick and easy access as well in the future. Now, when you pull up meet.google.com, it is going to show you a screen similar to this. Now, this screen is going to change. It's different artwork almost every time you go into it. Now, once you're signed into your G Suite account, this will also link up to your Google Calendar. So any events that you have scheduled that day will actually show here on your Hangouts Meet if they in fact have a Hangouts Meet set up for the event. If you're simply wanting to start a new meeting, you would select this area here with the plus icon and start a new meeting. Right? Now, on the screen that comes up after you choose Start a New Meeting, you then have the opportunity here to select to mute your microphone and turn your camera off. Okay. You also have the ability then to select Join Now. This is what will bring you into that call. The window that pops up once you select that Join Now will bring you into this little area here. Now, because we've opted to start a brand new meeting, it is saying to us, hey, would you like to add some other people to this meeting with you? More than likely, you will want to do that. So you can just copy the joining information. What that will do then is it will save it to your clipboard. And from there, you can either paste that into a chat message or into an email, and you can get them or invite those people into that meeting with you straight away. Now, as far as options that you have in Hangouts Meet, when you're in a Hangouts Meet call, it's going to look just like this. In fact, today we're all in that Hangouts Meet call together. You do have some options, however. So the options that you have available to you down at the bottom, the first one there where it says Google Training, that is the title of the call. So at the bottom left is the joining information. If you were to select the little arrow within that area, it will bring up any other details of that event, whether there's attachments included, any other descriptions that are provided for that event. All of that will be able to be found in that area. In the middle of your screen, you've got the icons to control your microphone as well as your camera. And I will draw your attention to this guy right in the middle. That is where you would leave the call. Now, I would advise you not to panic if you accidentally leave a call. It happens to the best of us, probably when we go to unmute our microphones. It will bring you to a screen that asks if you want to rejoin the call. No problem at all. You just would choose to either mute or unmute your microphone, same with your camera, and then you can rejoin the call. And then over on the right-hand side, you've got the area where it says Present Now. And in the Present Now area, it will offer you the opportunity to present either your entire screen or simply just a window. Now, as an example, today I'm showing you just a window. So any other areas that I go into in my computer, you wouldn't see those. You'd only be able to see this window that I'm presenting to you. Okay? Now, down at the bottom right, next to Present Now, there is an area there that have the three vertical dots. Those three vertical dots also give you more options. So I will invite you to just check those out. Remember, remain curious. You can't break anything, so definitely give it a go and make the most of that G Suite offers you. So now we're looking at starting or joining a Hangouts Meet from your mobile device. Now, on the mobile device, whether you're on an Android or an Apple device, so in Android, it's your Play Store, and in Apple, it's the App Store, you would open the Hangouts Meet app and sign in with your work email address. Now, if you already have Hangouts Meet on your mobile and you've used it personally before, you may have to use add an account, and then that way what it will allow you to do is it will then allow you to sign in with your work email address. You would then need to, once you've signed in with your work email address, it's going to ask you if you want to allow Meet to take pictures and record video. So again, it's giving it access to your camera. So you would just select allow and then continue. When you continue, you may be asked to also allow Hangouts to record audio. So again, this is going to ask you to select allow access to audio. You will be asked to accept the Hangouts usage policies before being able to join the calls. So again, this is standard as you go through and use this on your mobile. And then what you see next will be, it will basically bring you to your area of Hangouts Meet where you can mute your microphone or turn on or off your camera. Now in this area here, down at the bottom, it says to enter a meeting code. Now, when you want to enter a meeting code, it means that there's already been a meeting set up, whether it's by someone else or yourself, and you just enter the last 10 letters of the Hangouts Meet URL that you want to join. Right, now we're going to take a look at Hangouts Chat. Again, we'll look at Hangouts Chat, the interface both on Chrome and then on your mobile as well. So to start to join a Hangouts Chat from your Chrome browser, again, you'll want to make sure that you are signed into G Suite. Then you can go to chat.google.com. Same tip here applies. You can save this as a bookmark for nice, quick, and easy access. Now, when you look at the interface of Hangouts Chat, it is fairly standard as to what you see. If you want to start a new chat, up at the top left is a search bar. And from there, you'll be able to create a direct one-to-one chat, a group chat, or a chat room. You can also search for any available bots to use. bots are a really handy tool to complete some further actions within that chat. One example of a bot that we use quite frequently is a polybot. It creates polls so that we can poll our chat rooms on certain subjects, whether it's things like what you need to have done in Friday's meetings or what's going on in the quarterly meeting, that kind of thing. You can poll the room to get everyone's input. Now, when we look at creating chat messages, you've got a one-to-one chat where it's just you and one other person, or a direct message. You've then also got a group chat where it's you and a group of other people. And then your room chat is also you and a group of people, but it's a more fluid chat. In that chat room, you have a bit more flexibility as far as when you're adding people, removing people, if you want to leave a chat room, etc. Over on the left-hand side in that menu below your search bar are all of the chats that you'll have access to. Now, if you see an area that says starred, it's because you've actually decided to mark that chat as important. So that will sit at the top of your list. Below that, it will say people. So that is where your one-to-one, so your direct, and your group chats will reside. And then, of course, your rooms below that, and that are the chat rooms that you are a part of. Also, we take a look at the top right of our interface. There's an area where we can search within our chat, so we can search for chat if we need to. We can also then go into settings. Settings is an area you can go into in regards to looking at your notifications. Down at the bottom is, of course, your message bar. When you're looking at your message bar, you will see that it says history on as you type your message. Over to the right of that, you have the ability to toggle that history to off. This is in your one-to-one in your group chats. The only reason you may want to use that is if you have, let's say, a new employee or a new team member and they're sending you confidential information. Any message that is sent during that time that toggle history is turned on, those messages will be deleted after 24 hours. So again, typically, history is always on. If it needs to be toggled to off, any messages sent during that time will be deleted after 24 hours. Next to that is the ability to upload files. So through Hangouts Chat, I can invite, in this case, Christos, I can actually send him a copy of a file. Think of it like a paperclip. Next to that, even better, I can send files and I can share them with using Google Drive. So instead of just sending Christos a copy of a file, I can use Google Drive and I can invite him into that file with me in real time where we can start collaborating together. It's a handy tool to use and it's a fantastic way to really get a jump on the work that needs doing whilst you both are available. Next to that is the ability to start a video call. That's Hangouts Meet. So from within our Hangouts chat, I can actually invite Christos into a Hangouts Meet call, much like you guys and us are on today, and we can actually talk it out. And through Hangouts Meet, we can share our screen. And then, of course, we can also send each other files through the message bar up at the top right. Then, of course, we've got insert emojis. We know we can't escape our emotions, and therefore it seems only fair we can't escape emojis either. So they are here for us to use in Hangouts Chat as well. And then, of course, you've got the ability to send. Now, when you type a message in your message bar, it will light up that little arrow where it says send. It will light up as blue. It just simply means you can send the message. You can click on that arrow if you'd prefer to send it that way, or you can just tap enter on your keyboard. So that's our interface for Hangouts Chat in our Chrome browser. Let's take a look at that now on our mobile. So from a mobile device, when you download the application, again, through Android, it would be through the Play Store or app through the App Store. Apple, excuse me, the App Store. You'd sign in with your work email address and similar to Hangouts Meet. If you've previously used Hangouts Chat personally, you will or you may need to use Add Account to add your work email. Now, this is what the interface will look like when you first sign into Hangouts Chat. Up at the top right is a search bar. That search tool will allow us to go in and either find people that we want to start a chat with, create groups and rooms. And then down at the bottom right is a way that we can also start a new chat as well, so using the plus icon. You'll also see at the bottom of that screen that you've got your people on the left, so that's any one-to-one and group chats, and then your rooms on the right. So again, that will hold your rooms. So if you want to start a conversation or reply to any messages in chat, that search bar that we saw on the previous screen up at the top, it will allow you to find people, group messaging, look at messaging for a bot, creating rooms, and so forth. You'll also see a list of any frequently contacted people. Now, if we look at the next thing here, so this is a one-to-one chat. So this is what it's just going to look with myself and one other person. And down at the bottom of that chat, you'll also see the message bar. So in that message bar, we do have the ability to toggle the history to off. We have the opportunity to share a image from our mobile device. You also can turn this into a Hangouts Meet. So it's got our Hangouts Meet icon there as well. And then, of course, the arrow just simply means that you can send your message once you've typed it in. The next screen here, this is our group chat. So it will show a couple of the group members' names at the top, and then of course have a group chat throughout. The message bar you can see is exactly the same. And then you have your room chat. So it will have the name of the room up at the top. And then this is a particularly new room chat, so it's not much of a conversation going on in there. However, inside of that room chat, you can see the areas where you can reply. It will physically say to reply. You select that, you can type in your response on your mobile. At the bottom right of that screen, you've got a little circle with a plus icon inside of it. That is how we can start a new thread. So in chat rooms, so in our Hangouts chat rooms, we can start different threads, whether that's through your mobile or in your Chrome browser. Those threads allow you to maintain different conversations. So it could be that one conversation we're talking about our upcoming training sessions, and another conversation we're talking about next Monday's meetings or Monday meetings in general. It's just alerting that room that those different conversations are kept to those threads. So it's keeping everyone on point. Okay. All right. We're going to continue here. There we go. So we're going to look at Google Drive. And now when we look at Google Drive, we're talking about accessing and sharing files. In today's environment, with more and more of people working from home, it's so important to be able to access those files and share those files with our colleagues so that we can keep the work rolling. Now, when we look at managing our My Drive, think of your My Drive again. This is like a My Documents. It's your personal cloud storage space for work. Now, through your My Drive, you can use the new button that will show up at the top left of your Google Drive, and you can use that new button to upload files and upload folders into your Google My Drive. You can choose that file from your local storage, select open, and it will then bring that into your My Drive. It's helping you to organize your folders. So you can also create folders and start organizing the files as well. So once you click that new button and select to create a folder, you can name that folder and you can start dragging and dropping files into that folder as well. You can also make subfolders. So you can be inside of that folder. Click on the new button again, and you can create a subfolder to live in there as well. So again, managing your My Drive is as easy as you want it to be. Using that new button, it's a very handy tool to help keep you organized. When we look at creating files in Google Drive, again, we go to that new button. That new button allows us to create documents, spreadsheets, presentations, and forms. Now, as a little tip, everything within Google Drive, it saves automatically. So the first thing that you should do when you're creating a new document is title it. Definitely give it a title and then start going to work on that new document. And just to make sure we're keeping everything fresh for everyone, so Microsoft Word, we look at Google Docs, Excel, Google Sheets, PowerPoint, Google Slides, and Microsoft Forms, Google Forms. So just so you see there what our answer is to those Microsoft opposites, okay? All right, great stuff. Now, when we look at collaborating with colleagues, when you are in a file, you can choose to either go under that file menu or up at the top right, and that file will be the button that says share. If you're in your My Drive and you simply want to right-click on that file, you can also share. And once you select share, it will bring you to a window that asks you to add names or email addresses of the person or people that you would like to grant access to. Now, one thing that I want to make sure we're quite certain of is that every time you provide access of a file to someone, you always get to choose which level of access you're giving them. So it's really important to be mindful of that fact. So when you're adding someone to a file, next to their name is going to be a drop down arrow that says editor. Please select that drop down arrow. Again, throughout all of G Suite, that arrow is going to give you more options as well. So when I'm adding Christos to this file, if I don't want him to be an editor, I can then choose whether he's a viewer or a commenter. If I make him a viewer of a file, it means that all he will be able to do is simply look at that file. He'll be able to view it. If I make him a commenter or elect to have him as a commenter, he'll then be able to view and make comments on that file or suggestions. And then if I make him an editor, we will be able to then edit that file or collaborate freely. So again, when you are opting to share your files with other people, remember you do have the opportunity to choose which level of access they receive. You also get the opportunity to change your mind. So you can always go back into that right click and share, or when you're in the file, going into your file menu and share, and you can change levels of access from there as well. Okay. So next, we're going to take a look at G Suite on your mobile. I think I did see a question come in, so we'll take those questions at the end. We'll try to tackle those for you guys then. G Suite on your mobile. So when we're looking at the apps that you're looking for on the mobile device, these apps, as far as the names of them are concerned, between Google Play and the iOS App Store, the names will differ just ever so slightly. But I want to reassure you that one thing remains the same, and that's the app icon. So that app icon, whether it's Gmail or Sheets that you're going into, they will look the same. So those are the icons that you'll be looking for if you'd like to download these on your mobile. Okay. All right, Alistair, over to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jeana. So following that, we wanted to share some of our top tips here at Netpremacy. Obviously, everyone had to get used to this new way of working very, very quickly, and we thought it would be useful just to understand from a Netpremacy point of view what everyone's done to try and cope and get back to business as usual. So the first one we've got here is holding daily meetings. So this is something to kind of keep a bit of routine, which is the next point coming up. But it's something we do in Netpremacy every morning. Is we have a regular hangout as a company. We're not always all on it at the same time, but it's the opportunity to start the day as you would usually, which is hopping on a hangout, seeing some familiar faces, and actually getting the day off to start like you usually would. We also do this as our separate teams within the company as well. And this is either going through objectives for the day or simply just talking about any challenges, any questions you've got, or just having a general catch up as a team. It's a good thing to keep the morale going across the company. The second one is all about keeping to a routine. So we might all have our usual routines, which is the usual commute into work and grabbing a coffee into the office, or getting in a little bit earlier, going through emails, writing your to-do list for the day. We'd recommend keeping that routine or finding a new routine and something to get used to, just to actually help kickstart your day and get that bit of structure going into it. The third one, perfect your setup. I think this is quite an important one, to be honest. We've all got used to our own sort of setup in the office. Working from home can be slightly different. And I think actually having a setup that you associate and attribute to your working day is really beneficial when it comes to the end of the day, and actually being able to break away from that environment and make that disconnect between what is a working space and what is a home space. It can be quite full on working from home. It can be quite intense, and in some instances, probably a bit more tiring than it is working in the office, because it is just so constant. So actually having the ability to differentiate between what is your work environment and what is your home relaxed environment is a very important sort of differential to make. Check your Wi-Fi. This is one I have fallen victim to quite a few times recently and had to buy a booster to boost it around my house. But there's nothing worse than being on an important conference call or hosting a webinar and then halfway through the webinar dropping off because of your Wi-Fi connection. So that is something important to take into account and actually make those changes accordingly. Take a break, another important one. like I said, it is very intensive working from home. So actually taking regular breaks and sort of stepping away from work and just having that chance to recharge is very important. It makes sure you are taking those regular breaks. When you're in the office, you would do that anyway. So why not replicate that at home? And then don't feel guilty. I actually think this is one that can be overlooked and is actually quite important. I think as we are all now working from home, there's less distraction around us potentially, and actually we're getting through work a lot quicker, particularly with everything going on at the moment as well. We're getting through work quicker. There's probably less coming in as well. So actually don't feel guilty if you've got a bit of downtime or you're not feeling as busy as you usually would. It's one of those things that just comes into the day, and it is something to expect at the moment. Feel the silence. So at Netpremacy, we actually have a TV mounted to the wall and have constantly got some MTV music channels blaring out, or we've got Sky Sports News on, or Sky News. So I actually think it's quite important to fill the silence. I got very used to that way of working, so I've kind of replicated that at home and have sent a couple of links around the company. We've got a shared Spotify playlist, and it just helps fill the silence and actually helps you concentrate in some instances as well. And the final one, this is a quirky one that I came up with. I actually live with 3 housemates, and we are in a very close proximity. So if one of them does something that you don't quite like, as opposed to blaming your housemate directly or someone directly, we've created an alias for the house that we blame, and it just helps us manage the relationship within the house, as opposed to falling out with each other. And as we are unable to sort of get away and have that constant break at the moment, it's something that's proved quite useful and keeps us sane and actually getting on with each other as well. Those are just a couple of we've come up with. We can send a link around that takes you to sort of a Google page that have come up with a couple of their own as well. But I'm sure you've all got your own top tips, but these are a few that have come out of Netpremacy that we found as a company have kind of helped us over the past couple of weeks, and will probably help us going forward a little bit more as well. And again, a lot of these have actually come from this sort of partnership first approach we adopted at Netpremacy. We've got multiple teams that support our customer base and support the rest of the teams at Netpremacy. And a lot of the tips and experience and content that has come out of this webinar has actually come from those teams and interacting on a regular basis due to the tools we use, etc. So those teams have kind of helped support this content and the content of the webinars that are coming up as well. So that